If you've never quite got on with the force feedback in ACC, particularly if you're coming from iRacing, then try this recipe. It could completely change the game for you, because it definitely has for me. This is the most natural and easy to drive combination I've ever found in ACC, and that's saying something. Now, the settings I'm going to share with you were cooked up on my Fanatec CSL DD with the boost kit, but there's no reason not to give it a go if you have the unboosted CSL DD or the big sister DD1 and DD2 wheelbases, or even the GT DD Pro. Long story short, if you've got a Fanatec direct drive, give it a go. There are written notes of all the settings in the video description as well. First up are the Fanatec Wheelbase settings, and you can change these either from the Wheelbase or via the Fanalab software on your PC. They both do the same job, just select one of the spare setup profiles you haven't yet touched so that you don't overwrite whatever you're currently using. Here we go then. So sensitivity at auto, overall FFB at 100%. FFB Scaling at peak, natural damper at 5%, natural friction at 10%, natural inertia off, FFB Interpolation at 1. Feel free to increase this if you want less scratchiness or graininess, but you will lose some detail if you do. Force effect intensity at 100, game force effect at 100%, game spring effect at 90%, game damper effect at 100%. Any other values that I haven't mentioned, just leave as default. Next up are the relevant in-game force feedback settings, which you can find in ACC itself. Amend your settings to match the following: gain at 75%, minimum force at 0%, damper at 20%, dynamic damping at 20%, road effects at 0%. Again, any settings I haven't mentioned, just leave them as you found them. Finally, I messed with the onboard view settings to make it less jarring, because by default ACC loves to shake it to bits, whereas iRacing's camera is a lot smoother, which you might prefer. I know it's not force feedback, but it can make your experience more familiar. You can amend these settings whilst you're in any car on track, and it applies to all. My settings are as follows: lock to horizon at 50%, movement at 0%, lock with wheel at 0%. And that's the lot. You're ready to go. You're now using the exact same settings for ACC that I am. And for me, it's made such a difference. I'm finding it much easier to click with any track and car combo. No acclimatization needed. To me, this feels properly good. So give it a go and let me know how you find it. If you think it's a good one, then share it around with others, and do subscribe and like the video too, that helps as well. And check the written version of the settings in the link in the description, and thanks again.